People, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? Guys, this is the last video for. Oh, I'm a lion, right? This is the last video? Yeah, this is the last video for 2024. Oh my goodness. So, I would like to thank each and every subscriber, viewer, and everyone who made the channel grow as rapidly as it has over the course of 2 years. I'm internally grateful to everybody who's contributed to the channel, and I really hope and pray that the channel grows together, and I hope it becomes more interactive as we grow. And most importantly, I want each and every subscriber to become a contributor to the channel. In that way, we will keep the channel as interactive as possible. And I want us to create a community as we grow. But that said, wishing you a happy, blissful, festive 2025 and beyond. But than that, let's get into this video for today, the last video for 2024. Guys, today I want to talk about the diasporian wars, right? Because here's the thing, right? As Africans, we see each other as one. Yet we know we have our differences, we see each other as one. The world sees us as one. Yet we are different, right? A Black American, a Black Caribbean, a Black Latina or Latino, an African, a Somali, a Black European, and Black Asians. For some reason, the world sees us as one. But are we really one? What causes us to see differences between ourselves, and yet the world sees us as one? Can we be one? Are we one? Is there a possibility that one day we could all be united under one banner or one umbrella? Or is that a far-fetched dream? Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? People, for those that don't know, in the Black community, there's a hierarchy, right? Now, in this hierarchy, there is at the top, this is the perceived hierarchy, right? At the very top, we have Black Americans, right? Because they come from the biggest economy in the world, right? And they come from the most developed country, and they have the money, they have the rap Hollywood industry, and they have all those nice things that other Black communities and societies want but don't have. Then come the Black Europeans, right? Born in Europe, all they do is talk European, like, all they do is speak English or German or whatever it is they speak. They come from the developed nations, right? Thirdly comes the Caribbean. Now, the Caribbean nations, well, there's a debate whether it's between Africa and the Caribbean. Then, well, we got to give it to the Caribbean because of their close proximity to America, right? And the American influence and that. We got to give it to them because some of them don't even see themselves as African. And then we have Africa, right? Then, last but not least, we have Afro Latinos because they're such a minority, right? So they are like almost at the bottom. Black Asians, they feature somewhere in the middle. Now, why is the hierarchy picked? Why is it actually done this way? So, number one, Americans believe that they are superior to Africans simply because of their proximity to development to a first world nation. or because they live in a third world nation. But Africans don't see it that way because according to Africans, Africa thinks that Black Americans do not contribute significantly to the growth of America. And therefore, they just there to enjoy the ride. All right. All the developments, all the um, technology and all that is in the hands of whites and the Asians, right? Black Americans, and if they are discredited and not really mentioned, and right? So Black Americans are predominantly known for three things: acting, sports, and the movies, right? So even if there are Black tech giants, even if there are Black architects, even if there are, you never get to hear about them, right? So which means you only get to hear about the ones that are dominating in their respective fields, which is the arts, most of the time, right? Which is totally unfair. But that's not to say that there are no Black educators, no Black technicians, no Black. There's Black everything, right? It's just that they're in smaller numbers or they are not as pronounced as their white counterparts. Okay, number two, let's go to the Caribbean, right? The Black Caribbeans, they see themselves more aligned to the Americas because their ancestors were slaves that were in America that were then given free land next to America, right? So they don't see themselves as African, right? So those were freed slaves. Okay, so they're one step up from Africans. That's where the perceived hierarchy goes, right? Then comes the Africans. Then the Africans, with the majority, we see ourselves as the dominant of all the Africans, right? Irrespective of our lack of English, but we think and we believe that we are the source, we are the founding fathers, we are the founding foundational blacks, supposedly. Not supposedly, but we definitely are because every other black came from Africa, even though most of them will tell you that they're not from Africa, right? But that's why there's something called roots. When you trace your roots are back to Africa. Even if you tell me my mother and my great 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 grandfather were all born in America. Yeah, true that. But where did their great 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 grandfather come from? Exactly. So the root extends. The root, don't cut off the root where you feel it's appropriate for you to cut it off. Let the root run its course and then you find that you trace it right back to West Africa. Okay, then comes then comes the Latinos, the Afro Latinos. Not much is known about the Afro Latinos because there isn't. I don't. I mean, I know there are Black Latinos in every Latin country. I mean, I mean that's a given, but they are not as pronounced in the world. I mean, it's like you just don't hear about them doing it. The only first time I actually saw Afro Latino doing something massive was obviously, okay, I would say, okay, I can't say Brazilians are Afro Latinos, Portuguese. Okay, let's just say Afro because they're in South America, so Afro Latinos, right? Brazil being the country that stands out in soccer and football. We get Black Mexican singers, as the Mexicans or the Colombian singers now. They're doing this reggaeton thing. You get some. You see, like this guy called what? Ozuna. Ozuna. Ozuna is an example of an Afro American as an Afro Latino guy. That actually Ozuna. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think maybe they are there, but we don't get to hear about them on a global scale. You know what I mean? So okay, so this is the crux of the matter that I'm trying to get to. Are we one? No, we're not. Why? Because we grew up in different circumstances, right? So why am I saying this? Black Americans do not think like Africans. Africans do not think like Latino Americans. And Afro Latinos don't think like the Caribbeans. And neither do the European blacks and the Asian blacks. okay? Because we all grew up in different societies and um, continents, and just the way we think is just different, right? So Americans think in American, Europeans think in European, and we think African, and they think in their respective spheres, right? Are we one? No, we are not one because we practice different cultural norms, right? Africans will say Black Americans do not have a culture. Excuse me. African Americans will tell you that they do have a culture which they formulated by themselves because their original culture that their ancestors had was eradicated. So therefore, they had to recreate their own culture, which for most people they would say it is hip hop. Okay, cool. So already you can see that between Black Americans and Africans, there's already a disconnect, right? Because Africans feel like Americans do not have a culture, and Black Americans feel that they do have a culture, and the culture is jazz and hip hop, right? Caribbeans, well, they decided they're going to come up with their own mishmash of West African and American, and there's this in between Africa and American. So it's not quite there, like to say it's they're on the fence. Whereas Afro Latinos, they seem to fall more into the Latino way of life in which they grew up, right? European blacks, well, European blacks is a very exciting one because there are a lot of Caribbean blacks in the UK, as well as African blacks, predominantly Nigerians and Zimbabweans in the UK, right? So it's a melting pot of cultures, right? But the nice thing about black people, when they do meet, when they do, in spheres where they are the minority, then they become like one, which is because you assimilate by race, right? You blend in by race, and then you become one all of a sudden, right? Cool. But your way of thinking, your way of seeing things, the way you see life is different, right? So are we one? No, we are not one because we don't think the same, we don't act the same, we don't do the same things, we practice different cultural norms. We are not the same, but the world sees us as one. Okay, so can we become one? Yeah, we can, but there's going to have to be massive sacrifices made on both sides, right? Or concessions, so to speak, right? Now, one, American blacks think American blacks think Africans are lesser than them, right? Africans think American blacks are less than them, right? And this all stems from different cultural practices. And that's just where it stems from. But are we the same? Are we not the same? Right? We are not the same. We are just not the same. But the world sees us as the same. They just see us as black. Now, this is where the issue comes for me. Because the American system uses the race classification system, right? Africans actually use the tribal identification system. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you see a black person, all Americans see is you're black. When an African sees a black person, they see you as tribe first, then they see totem, then they see clan, then they see clan names, then they see all these other ancestral strings that attach to it. They don't just see race. You understand what I'm saying? The Caribbean, they just see race. There's no more tribes because that was robbed. They were robbed of that when they went to America, when they were shipped to America, right? And by the time they were released into the world, I was about to say into the wild. By the time they were released into freedom and they went to create their own worlds, their practices were abandoned or eradicated. So they had to recreate new ones, right? Okay. Having said that, guys, I don't think for the benefit of the world that all blacks are the same. And I don't think we ever will be. But we can live to tolerate each other. We can live with each other if we really put our minds to it. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla! People, let us look at now the pros of the differences between the blacks. One, every black person from the different parts of the world, right? We can come together and learn of each other's newfound cultures, newfound ways of life, experiences, traumas, triumphs, tribulations. So there's so much that we can learn from each other than from what we are taught in schools, other than from what we read in the media. Because to be honest, I feel like most black people's lived experiences throughout the world are either exaggerated or distorted, right? And the only way to overcome this is by actually traveling to meet each other, to exchange, like cultural exchanges, you know, and most importantly, developing apps, platforms that speak directly to universal black culture and black people. You know, we can be different. There's no doubt that we are different. We cannot be the same because of our lived experiences throughout the world, right? Throughout the various parts of the world, right? Because different parts of the world have different experiences, right? So your experience is going to be different from my experience. My experience will be different from a person in South America. You know what I mean? But there's something that connects us. And the funny thing about it is, you see it whenever black people are put in a space where they are the minority. There's this certain click that happens that, whoa, you're my brother, you're my sister, even though we come from different parts of the world, right? I think that would happen with almost anybody, any other race, right? But the reality of meeting in person or like now meeting online and sharing experiences and is that we can actually create a global movement that actually matters, that actually counts. Because when we wait on our leaders, our political leaders, it definitely doesn't move in the way we want it to move, to be honest. Because I don't see why the Caribbean nations, uh, Africa, and the Pacific Islands, right? Like your Samoa, your Papua New Guinea, those islands, even like the Solomon Islands, I don't see why they can all be incorporated into the African Union. Even though I think the African Union is a despicable, useless organization that just seems to be teetering on the edge of extinction because of the uselessness. Because I don't see any usefulness that they serve to African people. I really don't. But okay, that's a topic for another day, right? So this is the thing that I say. So the pros of having so many diasporans coming together, right, is that we can create a universal black movement that caters to all the varying degrees of black existence. See what I mean? Plus, there's that thing of language. I mean, I would love to speak Spanish or Portuguese. You know what I mean? I would love to speak French. I would love to learn a different language. And I'm sure someone out there would also love to learn Zulu or Igbo or Hausa or Shona or Bemba, Lingala, you name it, right? So that's the thing that I like is there are positive movements, positive black people that are now leaving America in search of a better life. And in search for that better life, what they're doing is they are now coming to Africa and they're realizing that, yes, there are differences, like the language and cultural practices and traditions, but overall, there's not that much difference from how they were living in America. Because predominantly, like in South Africa or in Southern Africa, the black people over here, the Africans, speak English. So already, there's already that common denominator, that the language barrier is already a hurdle that's been removed. So you can connect easily now, you know? Same, I think, would happen with the Portuguese. I mean, if they decided to go to Angola first, connect on a Portuguese level, and then together navigate the rest of the continent, that would be a blessing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, those are the positives that I can think of. You know what I mean? Then we come together and create a massive global movement and speak with one voice and have one thing, and just have one universal appeal for all black people, for all African people everywhere. That'll be my goal. That'll be my aim. And that's what I hope this platform can get to achieve in my lifetime. Hopefully, God willing. Ah. Guys, next we get into the cons of the diasporian wars, man. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, man. Come on now. People. So let's talk about the negatives, right? Number one, a lot of our people, or a lot of black people, should I say, right? We believe the narrative that is told about us in the media, and we run with it. I don't know why we do it, but we run with it, right? We just run with it. We believe whatever is being told about us, about our people, we just run with it. We believe it, and we come to the continent, or we go to America or the Caribbean, we go with an attitude of what we've read in the media, or what they show us in the media, or the negative stereotypes, right? So already there's division just from the get-go, which is unwarranted, which is unnecessary, right? And to be honest, they want to keep us divided because they know a strong black nation is unstoppable, is undefeatable, as proven by Shaka Zulu. That is why they would still refer to Shaka Zulu as a savage instead of as a king. Because I always maintain whatever Napoleon the Great did, Shaka Zulu also did. But for some reason, one is considered the great and the other is considered a savage. Doesn't make sense to me. Okay, that's one. Number two, for those that can afford to travel, please find out for yourself. Do your own research. Whatever you were taught in schools, you need to uneducate, unlearn, and you need to re educate and relearn by doing your own research. I cannot stress that enough. People, the more we are divided, the happier the world is because they do not want to see a united Africa. Trust me when I tell you that, right? Negatives. Number three, Africans, we need to stop seeing each other as different people. We can acknowledge that we have different practices, but we are of the same cloth. Now, yes, for me, I feel a stronger bond with someone of my tribe, someone of my um, uh, cultural, traditional background. I feel a stronger connection to someone of my country, someone of my province, someone of my uh, home language, mother tongue, you know. But that's not to say I cannot feel anything for another black person. No, no, no. You see, we don't always have to get along, right? We do not always have to be in agreement. We do not always have to be all goody goody, nice, nice, whatever. Of course, there's going to be fights. Of course, there's going to be arguments. It's only natural. We are only human. But we do not have to be going along with this divisive narrative. You better than me. We better than you. You guys are this. You guys are this. We are this. You but why? Why? Why can't we be? Why can't we all be pro-African? Why must Why must some of us break away and try to be like the other folk? Why do some of us want so badly to be accepted by the other race groups? I mean, logically speaking, we as the black people, I don't want to lie to you. I mean, the reality on the ground shows that we are not liked around the world. And that's a fact. The proof is right there. So, just based on that alone, we're supposed to be trying to fight to unite and to eradicate or erase the differences we have, at least to a large extent. You know, we may not be able to erase all the differences, but we can at least try to erase most of the differences, simply based on the fact that we are all hated across the world. Now, I'm not trying to spread hate or anything like that. Trust me, I'm not. But every time you log onto the internet, there's always some negative story that happened between some other race group with the black person. I'm sure there's times where black people have also done some stupid things towards other race, but that's like one in a million. The majority of the time, whenever there's hate crimes happening, trust, better believe that in most cases, it's always a black person on the receiving end. That alone should unite us as all blacks around the world. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below because I feel like it needs to be said. I feel like it needs to be addressed. And I think it needs urgent attention. So, organizations like BLM, Black Lives Matter, and all that, I think they should rethink their approach, rebrand, and come back stronger. And we can really try to unite the entire world instead of just blacks in America. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla!